What's up, everybody? Hey, gonna give you a practice here that you can do at home. Working on short game, body rotation, connection, all kinds of stuff here. So with most people's short game, a big problem they have is inconsistency. They don't catch the ball the same way each time, or they're catching it a little bit different. Sometimes a little heavy, sometimes kind of thin. And that's caused by a lot of wrist rotation. So our hands are trying to do too much in the shot. When our hands get involved, it's changing the club. So there's this rotation in our wrists like this, and we're catching the ball at different points of this rotation, and it changes the club face. So our club face is sometimes a little bit closed, sometimes it's like dead on, and then sometimes it's a little bit open. And so our distances are never the same. The way the ball reacts on the green, so the amount of check that you get or the amount of run that you get is never the same. So I'm gonna give you a practice that's gonna cure all this stuff. It's kind of a sucky practice because it can be frustrating at times, especially if you're used to using your hands a lot. The other thing is gonna work on is our body rotation. A lot of times I see in full swing stuff that people aren't rotating their body as much as they should. So they're taking it back portion of the way, they rotate back, and then as they come through, they kind of stop here, and then once again, those hands come into play, and they're just rotating through. This sucks. It's not what helps out. It feels like we're adding power by using our hands, but really what happens is our club comes disconnected from our body, and our timing's all off. We actually lose power, we lose accuracy. So this practice is going to help that out as well. It's really practicing just the bottom half of your swing. So the important stuff, right at impact, right? Halfway down, positioning, moving through impact, how to get through impact, and then how to finish without those hands getting involved, because this is everybody's downfall. This is a killer. So let's get to it. I hope this helps. Send me some feedback. I'm gonna show you a couple clips, and this is a practice that you can practice anywhere, whether it's outdoors. Obviously right now it's pretty nice. It was raining yesterday, but this is something that you can practice indoors, you can practice outdoors, you can practice all over your house, so long as your wife doesn't tell you no, because there's some spots that you can't practice. All right, well, I hope this helps, and hit me up. Please give this video a like if it's helped, and hopefully we'll get some better short game coming out of this quarantine. Be safe, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. All right, here we go. Step 1 to your quarantine practice. Working on short game, working on full swing, working on our body turn, working on connection. This drill is awesome. So hit this drill up, practice it at home, groove it in so you can figure out how your body moves, and then let's get on the course once this quarantine is over and show everybody that, hey, being at home, we can get our game better wherever. All right, all you're gonna need is a wedge and an alignment rod. If you don't have an alignment rod, you could use something else. It's pretty thin, has to be fairly long, maybe a yardstick, something like that, a little wooden dowel. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna run this down the back of your grip, right? And so you're gonna take your grip with this stick on there, right? So club face is nice and square, right? And when you set up, this stick is gonna run like an extension of the club. Right, let me scoot back so you can see this thing. It's gonna run like an extension of the club, and it's gonna run on my side. So when I set up forward, my hands might be a little forward pressed, but that's okay. This stick is gonna run down that side. So what this does is it helps us get through our swing without our hands breaking. A lot of the times I see players who, they turn right here and their body stops. Instead of it rotating and getting all the way through, we stay square once we get to the ball, and then our hands flip, right? And we have kind of this move. So swing goes, we stop, hands flip, and then we get the club through, but our body never really continues to rotate. And we need this finishing portion of our swing. So this stick is gonna make sure that that happens. So again, I set up nice and square. When I'm gonna take my swing and I'm gonna turn so that this stick stays on the side of my body without hitting. So it should go like this and it should rotate right along with me, stay right on the side. You shouldn't see this thing flick out and come back in and hit you in the side. If it hits or it's kind of, you're fighting against it, that means that your hands are wanting to get this club and they're wanting to push this way. So as we start to turn forward, everybody in their head thinks that, okay, everything's going this way towards my target, and we start to push everything forward. So the club, everything starts to go that way. We want to stay in our turn, and as we turn, that club will come with us. It's gonna turn this way. It's gonna face your target. So people hear things like, okay, like get the club head pointed down my target. So if I'm set up, I gotta like really point my head right where I want to go, like following that line, right? And we try to push. Well, what happens is when we're pushing that, we're staying still and our arms are doing this, but our body's staying really square to the ball. We want our body to rotate. That will bring our arms and everything around. So this drill, again, is gonna help us with that. In order to get this stick through without it slapping our side, we have to turn with it. And you're gonna find that in the beginning, especially if you're a flicker, this is gonna push into your side quite a bit and you're gonna be fighting that stick. You feel a lot of tension right here in this left forearm because we're trying to flick it and that stick's not allowing us to flick. This is a good sign. One, it's an identifier. It tells us right away that we're using too much hands in our shot. This hand motion leads to a lot of problems. So when you're having issues with yardages, right? Or chipping especially. So we only need to fly the ball 5 feet. We end up flying the ball 8 to 10 feet and it's double what we need. Ball runs out too far, right? It's hard to judge those distances. Well, what happens is if you're a flicker and we're using hands to kind of flick this to our spot, those hands aren't gonna flick the same amount each time. They're not gonna give the right amount of pressure. So what I want you to do is get this stick and learn how to turn with this thing. Our hands are gonna stay in one place and our body's gonna rotate and this becomes like one piece. As that becomes one piece, it's gonna be easier to judge your distances because your 5-foot chip is gonna go back to here. You're gonna turn with it. There's no power coming from the wrist. And then that ball's gonna be really consistent. If I make this same move and I flick my hands through, it's that move plus however much my hands flicked. So this is where we come into a lot of problems as far as distance control. Those hands are flicking, they're adding a unknown variable into our power, and then our distances are off. So let's use this drill. Let's make sure that we're using our body correctly and we're taking our hands out of the shot. We hold them out there and we're gonna use our body to rotate. As far as our full swing goes, this is practicing, right? If I set up in my full setup here, this is practicing my full impact position right here. So from halfway back, how to move through the shot and rotate my body so that I can get to this position without my wrist breaking. This is called connection. So you've probably heard it before, people saying, oh, your armpit, right? Make sure this stays tight. And yeah, you can, but what we really want to do is just get our hands out of it. All they're doing is just holding the club out like this, and our body is what turns and rotates that club. So here you can see, I'm gonna scoot a little bit. You can see that this stick stays on my side as I rotate. And it's not stuck on my side, it's not pressing in. It could be a little bit off. So see if I can get a good view here. As I turn, it can be off of my side, but it's gonna stay on that same spot. My body's gonna turn and rotate, and as I rotate, that stick rotates right around me. It's not flicking into my side. So give this a good practice. This is gonna help with a lot of things. So what helps with staying connected through our impact and us learning how to use our body to get through impact. We need that rotation. It also teaches us how to get our hands out of the shot, because that's what messes up our timing. If our hands are always steady, as we turn through, they're always in a set position, they're gonna contact the ball pretty consistent. If they're moving, that club face is, it's like sometimes I'm catching it like this, sometimes I'm catching it here, sometimes I'm catching it like this, and it changes those distances, right? It changes the trajectory of the ball, it changes how we're hitting it, all that kind of stuff. It also, if we take the hands out, we're taking a variable out of our swing that is gonna help us guess, right? Or assume what's gonna come out a little bit better. We're gonna be a little more consistent, so we can kind of say, okay, this is, if I take this backswing, X amount of backswing, and I don't move my hands and I just use my turn, this is what the ball's gonna do. It's easier to predict. If I'm taking that same backswing and I'm swinging and I'm using my turn, and then right at the last second my hands flick it and try to hit it, it's adding this unknown variable that we have no idea what it's gonna add. So let's cut out those variables. Let's learn how to turn and stay connected. This is an awesome drill, especially at home. You can do it anywhere. You can practice it in your bedroom. You can practice it in your closet. You can practice in your living room. You can practice it in your hallway. If you figure out how to practice in the bathroom, let me know. So as you can see, you can practice this drill anywhere. Get inside, find some space where you can make some room so that you can take these little half swings. We're really grooving in this bottom half of our swing. So from halfway back to halfway through, this is our impact spot. This is where all the magic happens. So if you have these two items, wedge and an alignment stick, you can put in some really, really good practice. This drill isn't about hitting balls. You don't even have to practice with the ball. It's about focusing on the technique, learning how to get our body to turn through without our hands hinging so much. So if you can make your rotation without that stick hitting you in the side, you are on a much better path to getting consistent short game, a consistent impact position on our full swing stuff, and you're gonna have some more knowledge about your swing and how to make these changes. A lot of times players get out on the golf course and we're just trying to make changes based on what we feel. It can work this way, but it's also kind of tough because what we feel sometimes, a lot of the times, doesn't match up with what we're actually doing. In this drill, we can not only feel it, but we have a good indicator, the stick, of if we're doing it correctly or not. So focus on the technique, let's get outside and practice, and let's come out of this quarantine with a better short game and a better golf game. I hope this helps. I'll see you at the next lesson. Bye. All right, if you've enjoyed this video, follow me on Instagram at ThatGolfSwing, or check out my YouTube channel, That Golf Life, and I'll have more tips and lessons coming up for you. Be safe out there, everybody, and I'll see you at the next lesson. Peace.